Solomon was the wisest man of his generation. Samson was the strongest. Yet both fell through the same door, the wrong woman with access to his heart. If wisdom could not protect Solomon and strength could not protect Samson, then no man watching this should think he is too spiritual, too experienced, or too solid to need this warning. Because the wrong relationship does not always destroy a man overnight. Sometimes it slowly redirects him until one day he looks up and cannot find the man God called him to be. It drains his purpose, clouds his decisions, weakens his work, and eventually costs him the resources God entrusted to him. Let me be clear, this is not an attack on women. A godly woman is one of the greatest blessings a man can receive. This is a biblical warning about patterns. Scripture tells men to discern. 7 patterns, 7 warnings, and the last one is the easiest to miss. Stay until the end, because the last one can look Christian enough to completely disarm you. Number 1, the woman who pulls you away from God. 1 Kings chapter 11 says, "His wives turned away his heart." Solomon did not fall because he ran out of wisdom. He fell because he loved women who served other gods, and instead of leading them toward God, he followed them away from God. He ended up building altars to false gods, the wisest man who ever lived, because of who he gave his heart to. Here is what this looks like practically. You used to pray every morning. Now you don't, because it creates tension. You used to be in community with godly men. Now you have pulled back, because she needs that time. You used to feel a clear sense of calling. Now it is foggy, and you are not sure when that started. That is not love. That is a slow redirect, and it does not always feel dangerous until it is already done. She does not have to be hostile to your faith to be dangerous to it. She only has to pull you in the wrong direction long enough. A woman sent by God will not compete with God for the throne of your heart. But the next one does not come for your faith directly. She comes for something else first. Number 2, the seductive woman. Proverbs chapter 7 says, "With her flattering lips she seduced him. He followed her like an ox going to slaughter." Proverbs 7 describes a man with no sense, not no faith, no accountability. The woman in that chapter is not loud. She is patient. She flatters. She pursues. She makes him feel like the only one. And he follows, straight into destruction, without realizing what he walked into. Here is what this actually looks like. Conversations that feel electric, but that you would never show your accountability partner. Attention that makes you feel chosen, while she is giving the same attention to men you do not know about. A pull toward her that accelerates, fast, avoids depth, and has no room for God in it. But desire that cannot survive prayer and accountability is not attraction. In Proverbs, Solomon calls it the road to death. If it cannot survive sunlight, it is not from God. The trap rarely looks like destruction at first. It looks like desire without accountability. This next one does not come for your body first. She comes for your peace. Number 3, the contentious woman. Proverbs chapter 21 and Proverbs chapter 25 say it is better to live on a rooftop corner than with a quarrelsome woman. Solomon says this 3 times. That is not a poet repeating himself. That is a man warning you because he watched it happen up close. Conflict is not the problem. 2 people who care will disagree. That is normal. The problem is contempt as a lifestyle, chaos as a default setting. A home where peace is never actually the goal. You try to address something serious, and somehow the conversation ends with you apologizing for bringing it up. You try to make a decision, and it becomes a battle that costs more than the decision was worth. You try to lead, and what comes back is not pushback, not disagreement, but contempt. A man cannot build a home, protect a family, or fulfill his calling inside a house that is always on fire. A peaceful home cannot be built with someone who is addicted to conflict. The next one is subtle, and it costs men far more than they expect. Number 4, the unbelieving woman. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 says, "Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers." She does not have to mock your faith to move you away from it. She only has to walk in another direction long enough. An unequal yoke is not just about church attendance. It is about direction. Who is she obedient to? What shapes her decisions when life gets hard? What does she run to when she is afraid? If you are following God and she is following the world, you are not going the same direction, no matter how strong the chemistry is. Over time, a man in an unequal yoke does not usually pull the other person up. More often, he is slowly pulled down, or he compromises to keep the peace, or he stops growing altogether. Chemistry is real, affection is real, but neither one can sustain a covenant that takes shared obedience. And you cannot build that on unequal ground. Affection cannot replace alignment. Chemistry cannot carry a covenant. The next one is harder to name because what she uses can look like strength. Number 5, the controlling woman. 1 Kings chapter 21 shows the pattern of Ahab and Jezebel. He sold himself to do evil, led by his wife. Here is the distinction, because men confuse this with the last point. A contentious woman fights you openly. You know you are in a war. A controlling woman takes the wheel quietly, until the decisions you are making are no longer your own. It starts with small surrenders. Your judgment is questioned until you stop trusting it. Your discernment is dismissed until you stop voicing it. Your sense of calling is treated as a threat to the relationship until you quietly let it go. Each individual surrender felt reasonable at the time. It felt like compromise, like maturity, like keeping the peace. But peace bought by surrendering your obedience to God is not peace. It is slow spiritual erosion. And here is something men need to hear. A passive man and a controlling woman can create the same disaster from opposite directions. A weak man blames women for his lack of backbone. A wise man examines where he has been giving away responsibility God told him to carry. Ahab was a king. He had authority from God. He gave it away, and Scripture records it as one of the greatest failures of his life. If she must control your decisions to feel secure, she will eventually compete with your obedience to God. The next one exploits something good in you. It targets your compassion directly. Number 6, the manipulative woman. Before this point, get this clear. Real pain is not manipulation. Real emotion is not manipulation. If a woman is hurting, a man of God responds with care. That is not weakness, that is obedience. Now here is the distinction, because this is different from the last point. A controlling woman overrides your decisions directly. A manipulative woman moves your decisions through your own compassion. You never see her hand on the wheel. Every time you address something serious, the conversation becomes about her pain, until the original issue disappears. Every time you hold a boundary, guilt arrives in exactly the right amount to move it. Every time you try to lead, something escalates, until you learn that your leadership costs more than it is worth. Real emotion seeks resolution. Manipulation uses emotion to avoid it. A man with genuine compassion is the most vulnerable to this pattern because the same heart that makes him a good man is the lever being used to move him. Real pain deserves compassion. Manipulation demands control. Learn the difference. And now, the final one. This is the one most men are never warned about in time. Number 7. The double-minded woman. James chapter 1 says, "A double-minded person is unstable in all their ways." This is the most dangerous pattern on this list. Not because she is the most wicked, but because she is the hardest to see. She attends church, she knows the language. She can pray, worship, quote scripture, and talk about her faith with complete sincerity. And she also loves the world. Not loudly, not obviously. She loves the attention, the options she keeps quietly available, the status, the image, the version of life that looks consecrated, but costs her nothing. She worships on Sunday and pursues status on Monday. She talks about God's will, but only when it aligns with what she already wanted. She loves the idea of a godly man. But the reality of what godly obedience costs her, that is where it goes quiet. And because she looks close enough to godly, you lower your guard. You mistake vocabulary for virtue. You mistake attendance for surrender. You mistake the performance of faith for a life actually built on Christ. And then slowly, your calling gets smaller. Your obedience gets negotiable. And you cannot pinpoint when it started. Because it started the moment you confused the counterfeit for the real thing. The most dangerous counterfeit is not completely fake. It is real enough to disarm your discernment. Stay away from any relationship that requires you to become less obedient to God in order to keep it. Do not walk away from this video afraid. Do not use what you just heard as permission to be closed, harsh, or suspicious of everyone. A godly woman is one of the greatest gifts God can place in a man's life. She is not a myth. She exists, and she is worth pursuing with wisdom. But a man must pursue that gift with discernment, not wishful thinking, not loneliness pushing him toward the wrong door. Not desire moving faster than his wisdom. Get into Scripture. Build accountability with men who walk with God and have built what you are trying to build. Do not let loneliness rush you. Do not let attraction do the work that discernment is supposed to do. If Solomon proves wisdom is not enough, and Samson proves strength is not enough, then every man must learn discernment before it is too late. Guard your calling, guard your peace, guard your obedience, because the right woman will protect those things. She will not cost you them. Before you close this video, do one thing. Think about the woman in your life right now, or the one you have been pursuing. Does she bring you closer to God? Or does she slowly pull you away? That is the question. Everything else comes second. If you are deciding today that you will not let the wrong relationship destroy your calling, your future, or the resources God entrusted to you, write this in the comments. God, help me guard my legacy. And tell me, which of the 7 warnings did you need to hear the most? Just drop the number below. If this sharpened something in you, subscribe and share this video with a brother who needs the warning before it costs him everything. God bless you.